Hi, my name is Serge Babichuk. Welcome to my channel where we debunk health dogmas and have fun while doing so. This is part 4 of our mini-series on debunking protein supplements. Today we will cover things like essential versus non-essential amino acids, protein quality and digestibility. This will help us to answer the big question: how much protein should you eat? Here's the short answer to this question for an average adult. If you eat animal proteins, then about 30 grams per day could be enough. With plant proteins, the number increases. Depending on your diet mix, you would need anywhere from 40 to 240 grams per day. Yes, vegans need to eat more protein, and today you will learn why. There are lots of other factors that would increase your protein needs. For example, sickness, infection, injury, or pregnancy and child growth. Let me give you an example. Kwashiorkor is a deadly protein deficiency condition that happens in developing African countries. The name translates as the sickness the baby gets when the new baby is born. When two babies are born, one right after another, the first one is switched from breast milk to high carbohydrate diet at a too young age. Yes, corn has protein and it is borderline enough for adults in those communities. But for a small growing child, it is not enough, and its quality is nowhere close to mother's milk. The unlucky child quickly develops protein deficiency on such a high carb diet. Kwashiorkor is characterized by loss of muscle mass, swollen ankles, and enlarged tummy. What's important to understand here is that the child is getting enough calories. I will repeat, the kid gets more than enough calories with energy-rich carbohydrate foods, but not enough proteins. If proteins are not increased, the child unfortunately dies. In developed countries, protein deficiency is very rare. We have the opposite problem here. The industry is pushing us to eat way too much protein. The scary thing is that they succeed. Within the last decade, we see a tenfold increase in interest in protein. Millions of people are asking, how much protein should I eat? Every January, people become obsessed with New Year's resolutions, which come with eating more and more protein. The industry succeeded in convincing you that you should buy more of their shiny protein supplements if you want to be healthy. Well, our job here is to resist, get educated, and do what is right for our bodies. The first extremely important thing to learn about proteins is the difference between essential and non-essential amino acids. As we have already discussed in previous videos, there are millions of different proteins, but all of them are made of the same 20 amino acids. Well, 22 if you want to be a nerd, but for now let's stick to 20 to make everyone's life easier. Our bodies can make 11 of those amino acids. Well, to synthesize them, we still need to get nitrogen from some other amino acid. But the point here is that as long as you have any extra amino acids, you can easily convert them to these 11 if needed. This is why they are called non-essential. You can easily make them in your body. The remaining 9 are different. We cannot synthesize them. We have no choice but to get them with food or die. This is why they are called essential. They are essential for our survival. Now, this should not come as a surprise that there are no official recommended daily allowances for the 11 non-essential amino acids. None. The 9 essential amino acids do have RDAs. 9 separate RDAs to be more precise. Combined, they come to about 0.2 grams per kilogram of body weight each day. For an average adult, it would make about 17 grams of essential amino acids per day. 17 grams. Normally, the ratio of essential to non-essential amino acids that we actually use for our bodies is roughly 40 to 60. So the RDA for non-essentials, if it existed, would be around 26 grams per day. 26 grams of any of the 20 amino acids. It does not matter which ones, just 26 grams in total. So there is no RDA for non-essential amino acids because if you eat the required 17 grams of essentials, you are guaranteed to receive more than enough non-essentials as well. 17 plus 26 is 43 grams. Previously I have told you that an average adult needs about 30 grams of protein per day. The official recommended daily allowance plays on the safer side and would land at about 43 grams per day if we extrapolate it. 1 gram of protein gives you 4 calories. 43 multiplied by 4 is equal to 172 calories, or just 8% of an average recommended 2300 calories intake. Here you go. Protein should be about 8% of your caloric intake. Case closed. Not really. It is not as simple. It turns out there is another RDA for the total protein intake. It is 0.8 grams per 1 kilogram of body weight. For an average adult, it would be about 64 grams or 11% of caloric intake. So, is it 8% or 11%? Both numbers come from official sources. To answer this question, we need to talk about protein digestibility and quality. When we eat protein, not all of it gets digested. Some portion is lost. The loss varies greatly from 3% for eggs to 30% for peas. Animal proteins are highly digestible at about 95% rate. The loss is minimum. Plant proteins are less digestible at an average 80% rate. In other words, when you eat 10 grams of plant protein, you actually get only 8 grams from it. The official RDA accounts for this loss. They say, on average, you should eat about 64 grams of protein. Some will be lost, but you should get the required 17 grams of essential amino acids and enough of non-essentials. Now let's talk about protein quality, as this is even more important variable. So, when we say RDA for the 9 essential amino acids is 17 grams, we understand that each of them has a very specific number tied to them. 17 grams is just the total. There is a very specific ratio of each of the subunits. It turns out that an egg has a near perfect amino acid profile. It is considered the gold protein standard, as the ratios are extremely close to what we actually need. Each egg gives you a perfect mix of about 2.7 grams of essential amino acids. If you eat nothing but eggs, it will take 7 of those to meet your official daily RDAs. Most animal proteins are also a near perfect match to our needs, so it is very easy to get all your amino acids on such a diet. Now let's talk about plants. They are also made of proteins, but those are very different from human proteins. The amino acid profile is different, as is the function. Most plants are deficient in some of the essential amino acids. For example, brown rice is low on lysine. You would have to eat more than double the volume of rice protein compared to egg protein to meet your RDAs. Corn is even worse. You would have to increase your protein consumption by about 4 times. On the other hand, soy, peas and other legumes are an excellent source of lysine. However, they are deficient in another essential amino acid, methionine. If you eat soy and legumes as your only protein source, you would have to eat about 3 times more protein to compensate. Eating 3-4 times more proteins that you need is not wise, as the excess protein that is burned for energy is toxic. If you are a vegan, it is better to mix rice or corn with soy or beans. This way you can get both lysine and methionine while eating less overall protein. You will still have to consume about double proteins compared to animal food diet, but it is much better than 4-time increase. Grains and oats are the worst offenders. They are low in both lysine and methionine. If you eat only grains and oats, you would have to consume up to 8 times more protein to meet your needs. For example, with eggs, you need about 43 grams of total protein. But if you eat only grains and oats, you would need to consume up to 350 grams of protein to compensate for the very low quality. In other words, grains and oats are the worst source of protein. Almost all of it is burned for energy, and lots of toxic ammonia is released in the process. Finally, we are ready to talk about protein supplements. Let's go one by one. Whey protein powder would be the best of them all, as its amino acid profile is the closest to human needs. However, do not forget that it is still highly processed food, fast food, junk food. Any real food is superior to whey protein powder. Convenience is the only benefit. It can only be used if you have limited access to real food. With plant protein, as you understand by now, it is trickier. If you absolutely have to supplement as you do not have enough protein with your regular food, do not just take plant protein from one source. Mix different types that complement each other. For example, rice and pea protein powders. And you have to take about double the amount compared to whey protein powder. Now let's move to collagen powder. To begin with, only about 20% of this supplement are essential amino acids, which makes it an extremely low quality protein. Remember, we do not care much about the non-essential ones. Secondly, collagen is missing tryptophan, which is an essential amino acid. So, if collagen is your only protein source, no matter how much you eat, you die. It is lacking one and is deficient in the other 8 essential amino acids. Long story short, collagen powder is useless and is burned for energy. By now, you should know it is a bad idea. Unlike whey protein, which could have its place if you do not have access to real food, collagen powder does not work as protein supplement at all. It is just empty toxic calories. BCAA or branched chain amino acids are similar to collagen. The supplement contains only 3 amino acids out of 20 that are used for muscles. Yes, all 3 are essential amino acids that could be perceived as a good thing. However, you should flip it on the other side. BCAA is deficient in the other 6 essential amino acids. It is a very poor quality protein that is just burned for energy. If you are still watching, thank you so much. Your watch time, likes and comments help the channel grow. My lifetime mission is to transform lives by debunking hundreds of false dogmas. People need to know the truth. The task is much bigger than me, so it is very important to build a strong community around it so that we could do it together. Really appreciate your time and support. Okay, this concludes our 4-part series on debunking protein supplements. To summarize, no, you do not need more proteins, even if you exercise. Protein powders are junk food, and there is no place for them in a healthy diet. Eat real food. If you have any questions, drop them below. See you in the next story. Cheers!